Hi, it's me. Welcome to the stream. Last time I did a stream involving, doing music stuff was a few months ago, and it was in fact on the same song we're going to work on today, but we have new songs as well. But, I wanted to do the stream because I've been working on and off on this particular, song for a while, and then my brother got me Synthesizer V Pro, which is the full version, the you actually pay for it version, for me for Christmas, along with one of the voice banks that I asked for. So we're going to be doing that today. Uh-oh, something's going on. Because it's like scrolling slowly. So that's a little bit concerning. Oh no, it's fine. I don't know what's going on. Anywho, I'm going to need to adjust the levels, but in case you weren't here for when we originally did this, let me see. I just need to check how the levels are.
They don't know you, not like I do. Can't forget it all as much as I try to. What a shame they're being lied to.
Gonna have to adjust those on the go.
Calculating, narcissistic.
So this was originally the song that we were... How the song originally sounded.
Lies, like their lipstick.
And that was with using free programs, with using the free program of Synthesizer V. And it ended up sounding like that. But today, we're going to be using the full thing, and I've been working on that one for a while. So there's a lot going on with it. It's pretty much almost done. There's a lot of mixing and mastering that we're going to do today, which is why I also have Audacity open for when we get to that. But for starters, here is the current version of the cover. I think it sounds pretty good so far. I don't know, just me, but...
They don't know you, not like I do. Can't forget it all as much as I try to. What a shame they're being lied to. Calculating, narcissistic, talks about us like a crowd of statistics. Wearing white lies like their lipstick. Ugh, it's so gross. Remember the time you slipped and said you'd do anything to get ahead. If you weren't sorry, why'd you even apologize? Different name, different face, new identity. Acting like you're too cool to remember me. Must be hard being all alone, being the best, the best, the best. When you crash, when you burn, when you fall apart, I'll be there in the crowd making finger hearts. Don't forget that you're one of us, one of the rest, the rest, the rest. Hide away from the place that you came, can't go back, all of that's just a game. Take a cheap shot, she can take it. That's the price you gotta pay when you make it. I'm so done with all this fake shit. She's not even joking. Going viral never lasts long, and honestly, it's not as good as your past songs. Here's a quick tip, thought I'd pass on. It's really not that original. You better enjoy it while you can. Attention from superficial fans, but just like they always do, they're gonna get bored of you. Different name, different face, new identity. Acting like you're too cool to remember me. It's always you on the pedestal, but it's the rest, the rest, the rest. They don't know you, not like I do, but they will. Na 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 na.
Okay, yeah, sometimes it just stutters a bit. That's just how the program is because it uses so much of my CPU to render it. But yeah, for the most part, it sounds pretty good. I'm probably going to tweak a few things. I do have to export some of the files. In particular, we're going to continue working on this today. So, the original song sounds, if I have this here and then do that, it sounds just like this.
They don't know you, not like I do. Can't forget it all as much as I try to. What a shame they're being lied to. Calculating, narcissistic, talks about us like a crowd of statistics. Wearing white lies like their lipstick. Remember the time you slipped and said you'd do anything to get ahead. If you weren't sorry, why'd you even apologize?
So that's, like, I tried my best to get as close to the original as I possibly could. Like, obviously I'm not gonna make it perfect because I don't have the time and energy to do that. But for the most part, I think the melody line is pretty good. Like,
They don't know you, not like I do.
I can easily export that. And channels mono. And do that as extra files. And then we can select a folder to put it in. Gotta put this in. Where is it? Where? By date modified right now, that's why. Put this in this folder. And this is something I'm only starting to learn how to use. I don't really know much about how to use the full version yet. But as far as I can tell, the aspiration output down here is like breathy sounds, like the channels but breathy. So I'm gonna, because there's like some parts of the song where you can hear the background vocals whispering, I'm gonna put that down for just in case, but I did make separate things for the background vocals, just to make it easier on myself. And file name main. The rest. And then when you bounce to files, give it a few seconds. It exports them and they go into your folder. And then once we have that, well, first of all, we have to get out. Have to get the where is it? Instrumental down. We will mute that for now, just because we're not using it yet. Where is it? There it is. I have a lot of folders on my computer. There it is. And then you can shoot. Okay, I think, yeah, that one's the one. And I can just insert it in. Whoop. And then you just have it there.
They don't know you, not like I do. Can't forget it all as much as I tried to. What a shame they're being lied to.
But yeah, if you just have that there, that'll help. This is clipping.
Don't forget that. Don't forget.
Yeah, that clips. That's unfortunate. I'm gonna normalize that a little. And I am technically qualified to do this by virtue of having an associate's degree on audio production, with concentration in music production, but I have not, in fact, repeat normalize. There it goes. I have not really used that degree much in the past 5.5-ish years that I got it, so you know. Repeat normalize there, just to make sure that it doesn't go into the red. You never want your volume to go into the red, because then it's too loud and it's clipping.
Better enjoy
That's
it
a lesson
while
that
you
I learned.
can. Attention from superficial fans, but just like they always do, they're gonna get bored of you.
I also have to do something about this, because in the original, where is that part? Gonna get bored of you. There it is. And the original part here, the vocals do instead. That was the wrong thing to close out, you dingus.
Bored of you.
They do that, so I have to figure out how to do that in Audacity. And I don't know if I can do that in Audacity. Yeah, let's also just save this project. Because otherwise I'm going to lose it. The rest. Symphy cover. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Save that for now, and we'll get back to that later. So what else do I need to do? That is a good question, McMahon. I do need to bounce some of the tracks, as the other tracks as well, but I also need to compare some of them to others. There is a couple tracks in particular that I am not too terribly fond of, these two. Because here, hang on.
It's the best.
Whoopsie daisies. There's like a little laughing there in the back. And since I'm using a vocal synthesizer that primarily does, when it comes to audio, it primarily does, you know, actual, notes, it's kind of hard to like just make them laugh per se. I could probably simply make another track, but I'd have to make that. How do I change this? Okay, give me a second. That's not where that goes. Okay, hang on. Let me... 1, 2. There we go. And then... That's not it. That's not it. Language. Okay, so I have to first pick one. And then I have to have it there. Vocal mode. I don't know how to make it do rapping. That's a thing that you can do with this, but I don't know how to do that. How do I do that? Oh boy, howdy, how do I do that? What if I instead do that? And then delete that track, then create a new track, and then create that? Would that work? Would that be in rapping mode? I don't think it's in rapping mode. Shoot. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. So anyways, we're not going to do that. But yeah, these two in particular, they're supposed to be, laughing. But I don't really know how to do that with actual pitches. Let me try extending some notes and maybe doing it like that. I don't know. That's a good question, Mega Man. Like this, maybe? Make it kind of funky? Get a little funky with it? Oh, that sounds weird. I don't know about that. Just go back. Go back. Yeah, I don't know how to make that sound good. This one, especially, I don't know how to make sound good. Maybe pull that one up a little bit more. Pull that one up a bit more. That doesn't fit with the key, though. That does not fit with the key. Oh no, it kind of does. Maybe pull that one like way down instead. Maybe that'll work. No, that doesn't sound good either. Be. I'm gonna be honest. This obviously doesn't sound like laughter. Like, it very much so does not sound like laughter. Yeah, and this one's offset a little bit so that it can end a little bit later. But I might need to change that as well. Offset it differently. Like this, perhaps? Like, it feels like it starts too soon is what the problem is. That's a little bit better. Maybe back here, perhaps? Nope. Also, I'm in too close, which makes it harder to go back because then it'll put me on a different part of the music. Go back there. Put that together with the main line, see how that sounds.
The best, the best. When you crash, when you
That sounds fine.
the best, the best. When you crash, when you
Maybe that one's a little bit late now.
the best. When you
Let's do. You go a little bit here, and then I do a little something like this.
when you when you crash, when you crash.
That could work. That could, in fact, work. Alright, so what else am I missing? What else am I missing? I'm missing something else? Let's check the acapella to see if I'm missing anything else. Because I could be. It's entirely possible that I am.
They don't know you, not like I do. Can't forget it all as much as I try to. What a shame they're being lied to. Calculating, narcissistic. Talks about us like a crowd of statistics. Wearing white lies like their lipstick. Ugh, so gross.
That one in particular, this here is a little bit weird.
Lies like their lip.
Wrong one. There it is.
Wearing white lies
love you
like their lip.
Like, that doesn't sound right. That one I just kind of futzed around with. I should fix that. I should fix that. Hang on. Let me do a little bit of a spindle-a-rooney.
Lies.
I have to not listen to this in order to be able to get it. Catch it, though.
Lies like their lip. Their lip.
I love you guys. Bye.
Lies. Lies.
Maybe if I put a little... Oh, okay, that's how I made it into... Okay, that's how I made it into rap mode. Okay, take that off now. Take that off now. Put that into thing. Though I am curious what it sounds like if I do that instead. Hang on. Hang on. Mute that. How does this sound if I put it in rap mode? It's kind of a weird, wonky way that it's rhythmically. Oops, accidentally pressed cap lock. I love you guys. See how that sounds in rap mode. It's not gonna sound good. I know it's not. But let's see it.
Wearing white.
No, 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 no. Solo.
I love you guys.
Oh no, that actually sounds a little bit better.
I love you guys. I love you guys.
Guys.
I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. I'm gonna do it not doing the rap. As much as it sounds interesting, I'm gonna do it without the rap and instead do it with the notes, which means that we're going to do something kind of funky. With the other vocals, it was kind of a little bit hard to see, but okay, with this one I didn't do it that way, but hang on. Ugh, it's so gross.
But the main way to make it sound more like a human speaking is by... This the laughter? This is in fact the laughter. Where are the other ones? Here's this one. That one's another one? Yeah, the main way to make it sound more, like a human voice is to make the pitch, or to make it sound more like speaking, is that you make the pitch go up and down, not necessarily erratically. You kind of gotta do it at the beginning and at the end of the notes. Like here.
She's not even Japanese, you know.
Like that almost sounds like speaking. That almost sounds like speaking specifically because we have here. These are how the notes dip. So it dips a lot here, and then it comes back up here, and then it automatically, because of the way taking a sippy bippy of my diet twist up, or zero sugar twist up, I guess. That's what we got today, and some water just in case. But yeah, the program automatically like does a little dip for when you come into notes, and sometimes it does a little dip when you come out of notes automatically. It depends on if you're going up and down, I believe. So like here, it goes down a bit, so it already does a little bit of a dip with the note. That's what these lines are, is where the note is in relationship to the actual piano note here. So like these, trying to figure out how to explain this. So these little areas under here make it so that I can manipulate it even more, so that since it's not automatically doing a dip here, I can make it so that it does a dip here anyways. And since it doesn't do as much of a dip as I would like here, I make it do a further dip, and another one here, and there's another one there, and there's another dip there. I made it go a little bit higher. I might need to change that actually. It doesn't sound right at the end.
She's not even Japanese, you know. She's not even Japanese.
Maybe change this a little bit. And to manipulate it, I just have to go in and add another dot. That may be too high. That may in fact be too high.
She's not.
Hang on.
She's not even.
Make it a little bit smoother, perhaps. A little bit of a smoother jump.
She's not even. She's not even Japanese, you know.
Maybe change that jump a little bit smoother.
She's not even Japanese, you know.
That sounds a bit better. So yeah, we have to manipulate the I love you guys to sound a bit more nicer. You can also do that just by, did I do it here? Nope.
It's really not that original.
This one's a little bit funky. Probably gonna change it a bit. Yeah, change that a little bit, bud.
It's really not that original.
Yeah, make it a little bit better.
It's really not that original.
Move that there.
It's really not that original.
Make it chop up a little bit more. Yeah, make it drop up a little bit more. There. A little bit more of a drop off. Okay. Like that. Yeah.
It's really not that original.
Yeah, that works. Okay. So yeah, if we go back to the laughter here, you can also do that with just adding more notes instead of actually manipulating down here, which is sometimes easier, sometimes harder. It depends. Especially because of how notes work in this program, it's a bit funky. as far as I can tell, you input the lyrics into whatever note you have here. I think I explained this last time I used Symphony, but I don't know. You input the lyrics that you want to have here. Click on that, and then you type the lyric. It's ha, because it's funny, haha. And if you want to extend the note, you can extend it a little bit with a minus sign. But that's only if the note, that's only if the word preceding that minus sign is both like directly next to it. Like, see how if I put the line here, there's like no space between these two notes. And also it has to be that the word preceding the minus sign is one syllable. If it's multiple syllables, you have to use, let me go over to, where is it? Is there one over here somewhere? Not on this line, but, oh no, Japanese is that one's already there. Where are you? There you go. Or is that the original there as well? If it's multiple syllables, you can instead put in a plus sign next to the word in order to extend the note, extend it into the next note. So you have really here going, and then original, which also like extends because I have all those plus signs there. Other ways to do it is also to, you don't have to use the pronunciations that the program gives you. I was going to say the game. Yes, the video game that is this program. I believe, no, I do use all of them for this one, I think. Go back, that's the game that we play. You know, that's all. There is one in particular I want to say in here. Probably in the main line. When you crash, when you burn, when you fall apart. Must be hard being all alone, being the best. If you weren't sorry, why'd you even apologize? Okay, there we go. Here's one. If you don't want to use what the original pronunciations are, you can either A, change it through this dictionary, which I already have my own little program dictionary that I can use whenever I want. I've been adding various syllables that it doesn't automatically give me for some reason, which I find weird in there. It's really funky to use this program when you're trying to do an English speaking song in comparison to literally any other language. Because English itself has so many different voicings for various characters. I mean, it's not as if other languages don't do that as well, but like, it feels like English is a lot more varied in comparison to some languages like Japanese or Chinese or Spanish, which are all options you can do here. Yeah, hang on. Where is it? Yeah, we have English, we have Mandarin Chinese, we have Japanese, we have Spanish, we have Cantonese Chinese. Those are all options you can do here. Can't see the menu, but that's okay. But yeah, if you don't like how it does the automatic whatchamacallit, like the original pronunciation, you can do, now this is altogether, this is apologized.
Apologize.
Which I instead made combining a Paul with a plus. Then I put down ij. I put an to do part of the ized part, and then the rest of the ized part I literally just put down ized with a D at the end, which turns out to work somehow. I don't know how that works, but it does.
Apologize.
So it's, I would say it's easy enough to pick up, but at the same time, it's like completely complicated if you're doing this with English speaking voices, and it's just, it's overall a pain in the neck sometimes. So going back to I Love You Guys, I'm going to try to do this. I want to try this with notes. So let me pull back up the acapella and get this out of here so I don't have to hear it. Because I really can't concentrate on it if I hear it, because then it'll sound completely wrong to me, and that just doesn't help.
Lies. Like they're lies. Like
I love. I might need actually to do that. Hang on. If I do this and then that instead, I love. No. Okay, and then bring it up.
I love you guys.
I love you guys.
I love you guys.
Hey, this is a lot harder since I have so many channels. I used to only have just 3 channels I was working with, but now I'm able to go like up to like 50 or something. I don't know.
I love you guys.
I love you guys.
I love you.
Let me put in I. Maybe just a whole octave? That probably works. That probably works, right? I'm not crazy for thinking that. Let me try.
I love you guys.
Oh, that's a little bit low. Bring it up a bit.
I love you guys. I love you guys.
I love you guys. I might have to make this a ga and then eyes. Instead, let me try guys. See how that sounds.
I love you guys.
You guys. Guys.
Love you guys.
Oh, that might work. Hang on.
I love you guys.
That I sounds funky. Let me go back again. Come on.
I love you guys.
Sometimes it takes a little bit to load because I now have the render mode of prefer quality over prefer speed, so it takes a little bit to sometimes do that.
I love you guys.
Guys. Maybe that'll work. Does that sound okay? Let's check. Nope, that's the instrumental. Go back.
I
lies.
love you
Like they're
guys.
That's still not quite it. Hang on. Okay, minus. And then add a little bit there. Ice. Maybe that'll work.
like they're
Love you guys.
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 Oh, that could work. Okay, hang on. Go back to the beginning.
I love you guys.
A little bit more.
I love you guys.
Ooh, it's not bad, but it's not great. And like I said before, it's really funky trying to work with, trying to make them sound like they're speaking and you're using English vocals, and English is already hard enough as is. This is overall just going sideways. Bonkers. Where's my mouse? There is my mouse. Alright. So we might start exporting some of these now. The whispers here.
Calculating, narcissistic, talks about us like a crowd of statistics.
Now for this, I could have done this in a different way, but how I did it was simply just putting them as like really, really low on the scale. So that, really low on the scale so that it would just, like, it would sound raspy and like it was whispering, but it's still technically a note, but it's outside of the range that this vocal bank, which is called Hayden, that's the one that my brother bought me, it's outside of the range of where the whatchamacallit, the vocal cords are the vocals are supposed to go. So
Calculating, narcissistic, talks about us like a crowd of statistics.
so you can still hear dun 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 dun. That's still there, but it's a lot less in comparison to when, like, up here where it's actually in the range.
Calculating, narcissistic.
Like, that actually sounds like notes, but that one doesn't sound like notes. Let me check. We're just gonna kind of go through. There are some that I haven't really touched too much. I just kind of, a lot of these ones that aren't the main one, I didn't really touch the tuning, as you call it, the tuning of the notes as much, or the style of them, unless I really needed to, as like a just to get the bare basics down. Let's see for this one. What's this one here? Oh yeah.
Wearing white lies like their lipstick.
Like, even just not even doing anything with that still sounds fine. I could potentially make it better. I can shift things around. I haven't played around with the gender so much with this.
Wearing white lies.
Oh, that is definitely not where I wanted it to go. This side of the spectrum is more feminine. The other side of the spectrum is more masculine. If I make it...
Wearing white lies like their lipstick.
So if I, like, pull this all the way over here, then it sounds like this.
Wearing white lies like their lipstick.
That don't sound right. That don't sound right.
Wearing white lies like their lipstick.
I think maybe I should pull it a bit more. Maybe here?
Wearing white lies like their lipstick.
Oh, does that sound better? Let's check.
Wearing white lies like their lipstick.
So that's at that. So if we just do this instead.
Wearing white lies like their lipstick.
It's kind of hard to tell. Let's go back.
Wearing white lies like their lipstick.
It could work. How does this sound, though? This is completely just a line that's just a bunch of whole notes, I think. No, they're actually half notes. God dang. Like a bunch of half notes all strung together. Let's see how that sounds with the...
Time you slipped and said you'd do anything to get ahead. If you weren't sorry, why you even apologized?
I think I like it better like this, but I don't know.
Time you slipped and said you'd do anything to get ahead. If you weren't sorry, why you even apologized?
Also, it doesn't really start up with like a swing as much. I forget the technical terms for when you like start up a note like ah instead of ah. There's a specific word for it, but I don't remember it because it's been years since I've been in choir.
The time you slipped.
Yeah, it just kind of starts there, so let's... Maybe if I do a little something something?
the time you slip.
Yeah, that's better. That's a lot better when I add that there. Okay, hang on. I gotta add that to the other parts where that comes up now. Great. Here? No, that's not it. What's this one? This one is...
With all this fake shit. Oh,
Oh, I probably should add that to all these ones. Yeah, all these lines have a little bit of something to them.
all this fake shit.
Alright, now I gotta go through all these and add a little something to them. However, I have to be careful because we only have a little bit of space here between the notes. So I gotta be a little bit careful there. Let's do one here. And then... Scroll on down. One here. Yeah, I know that's silent, thanks. Next one is a bit higher, so we can make that one a little bit lower instead. Wait, why is that right there? Who put you there? I didn't put you there. Did I put you there? I put you there, didn't I? God dang it. Alright, hang on. And the last one is not that one. That one, she's not even Japanese, you know. Over here. There we go. Let's see how that sounds now.
Fake shit. Oh.
Okay, hang on. It needs to actually render. My computer's going wonky. Uh-oh, it doesn't like that. It doesn't like Synthesizer B doing things. Uh-oh. Howdy. Oh, you want me to hydrate? What is this? Diet Twist Up. It's going okay. I'm mostly just tweaking things. The majority of the song is, in fact, like, this is a cover song, but the majority of it is completed. So, like, hang on. So if I mute that, so here's part of it.
Take it. That's the price you gotta pay when you make it. I'm so done with all this fake shit. Oh, she's not even going
Okay, I just made a change, like, right over here to make it so I was like, oh, instead of just, oh. Like, it does a little, scoop up. And it sounds automatically a million times better.
She's not even Japanese.
Go back.
She's not even Japanese.
Meaning I have to add that here.
Here's a quick
Do I?
here's a
Oh, I might have to add that there as well. Okay, hang on. That one does kind of dip a little bit already, but let me add a little more pizzazz. Yeah, a little bit something else. I'm sorry that the majority of the stream has been silent, if only because I can't work on music and also have music going at the same time. I can't have two songs going at the same time if they aren't like, if they don't fit together. Like if it's not like an actual mashup, I can't do that. I cannot do that. That's not a thing I can do. How does that sound?
best songs. Here's a quick tip for the best song. It's the best songs. Here's a quick tip for the best song.
Oh, that's good.
It's really not that original.
Now we gotta add that to here. Lots of tweaking of the song because I am a perfectionist. I'll put that a little bit lower.
Enjoy it while you can. Attention from superficial fans, but just like they all can. Attention from superficial fans, but just like they always do. They're gonna get bored of you.
That's probably fine. But I am gonna have to change this one because it has two different areas where it needs to do a little scoop up. That might actually be the term, the scoop up. We'll put those there and copy that, and then we gotta go over here and do it again. There, and then take the one from over here and then copy there. Did it copy? Did it paste? Did it paste? It did paste. Wonderful.
Different name, different name, different face, new identity. Acting like you too
Sounds a little bit better. Ah, dang it, there's another one. Ah, dang it. Let's go gambling. Ah, dang it. Sorry, I was watching someone play a mod of a game, and like they had a section where you could just pretend play an arcade machine where it just played the gamble core. Is that what it's called? Yeah, the gamble core videos. So now I have that stuck in my head again. Ah, dang it. Ah, dang it.
Different name, different face, new identity. Acting like you too cool to remember me. It's always you on the pedestal versus the rest. The rest, they don't know you, not like I do. But they will, na 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 na.
Yeah, that last part's fine. This part's fine, I think.
Na 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 na.
I really like this particular part at the end.
Not like I do, but they will, na 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 na.
Like that particular harmony, the na 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 na, is real good. I think that's otherwise done. Let me play through it, and then we can do some stuff a bit in Audacity, but we can also do something else instead, because I do have another one, but I don't know if I'm gonna get demonetized on YouTube or whatever, or get my thing, like, you know, just completely muted for playing it, because it's actually from... This song is from an artist who is otherwise not very well known. The other song that I've been working on is from a very well known artist, so I kind of have to be careful. Let me see how this sounds, though.
They don't know you, not like I do. Can't forget it all as much as I try to. What a shame they're being lied to. Calculating, narcissistic. Talks about us like a crowd of statistics. Wearing white lies like their lipstick. It's so gross. Remember the time you slipped and said you'd do anything to get ahead. If you weren't sorry, why you even apologize?
I do have to stop because the I love you guys is bothering me again.
Narcissistic talks about us like a crowd of statistics. Wearing white lies like their
It's the love. It's dipping too low. The love is dipping too low.
lipsticks. Wearing white lies like their white lies like their wearing white lies like their lipstick. It's so
Go back from the start of here. This part of the verse.
calculating, narcissistic. Talks about us like a crowd of statistics. Wearing white lies like their lipstick. It's so gross.
Sounds better.
Remember the time you slipped and said you'd do anything to get ahead. If you weren't sorry, why you even apologize? Different name, different face, new identity. Acting like you're too cool to remember me. Must be hard being all alone, being the best, the best, the best. When you crash, when you burn, when you fall apart, I'll be there in the crowd making finger hearts. Don't forget that you're one of us, one of the rest, the rest, the rest.
The laughter's bothering me again.
It's the best.
I think because this ends a bit too into it. Into you. Into you. Crazy into you. Faux show. Crazy into you. All about you.
When you you crash, when you burn, when you fall apart, I'll be the best, the best, the
Hang on.
best. Different name, different face, new identity. Acting like you're too cool to remember me. Must be hard being all alone, being the best, the best, the best. When you crash, when you burn, when you fall apart, I'll be there in the crowd making finger hearts. Don't forget that you're one of us, one of the rest, the rest, the rest. Hide away from the place that you can't go back. All of that's just a game. Take a cheap shot, she can take it. That's the price you gotta pay when you make it. I'm so done with all this fake shit. Oh, she's not even going viral, never lasts long. And honestly, it's not as good as your past songs. Here's a quick tip, thought I'd pass on. It's really better to know. You better enjoy it while you can. Attention from superficial fans, but just like they always do, they're gonna get bored of you.
Hang on. What's this one?
Enjoy it while you can.
Are there two of them? Are they the same?
Enjoy it while you can.
Nope. This is really hard to hear them.
Enjoy it while you can. Attention from superficial fans, but just like they always do, they're gonna get bored of you.
Okay, and then there's the solo.
Different name, different face, new identity. Acting like you're too cool to remember me. It's always you on the pedestal versus the rest, the rest, the rest. They don't know you, not like I do, but they will. Na 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 na.
The thing is, I haven't addressed the background chanting. I'm mostly fine with that. I don't really care about that as much.
Hey, 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 go away. Hey, 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 point to fake, each knees on she, all eyes on me.
Like, that sounds fine. That sounds like chanting. It sounds like robotic chanting, but it sounds like chanting, and I'm fine with that.
Different name, different face, new identity. Acting like you're too cool to remember me. It's always you on the pedestal versus the rest, the rest, the rest. They don't know you, not like I do, but they will. Na 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 na.
Okay, I think we gotta start, bouncing these files. Let's start bouncing these files. So we already have, the main melody line,
Songs. Here's a quick tip, thought I'd pass on.
which I'm going to have to adjust vocals as need be, because there's a lot of different, mixing and mastering that's happening there. I might not do all that on stream right now. I'll just do a little bit of that. Probably these funny... Oops. Audacity's still out, open. Probably these funny little guys down here. The ones that are like the this.
Wearing white lies, love you like their lipstick. It's so gross.
Because those ones have a little bit of a effect to them. So let's first... let us start bouncing some tracks. So what is this one? This one is like... I'm gonna call that... where are we? Stunning track 2. So we're on 3. I really should name my tracks just as I should probably name my layers when I do painting stuff. But I don't. I name my folders though when I do painting stuff. I don't have folders in this, I don't think. Do I have folders? I don't think I have folders. Nope, no folders. So instead I'm like just kind of... They've kind of been going... Like I imported these all from like... The majority of these all from like 4 different files that I already had that was like 3 tracks each. So that's why they're all in these red, green, or red and blue color scheme for the most part. And I just kind of kept it more so to fit that. Otherwise, mono. It's extra files just in case. Oh yeah, almost tipped over my cup. I keep doing that. This one's chorus. Let's go with chorus. I can spell, god dang it, chorus, harmony 1, the rest. Bounce to files. And maybe sometime in the future I'll be able to like post this on the internet. The entire cover, I mean. I'm already posting this on the internet by it being just there. And then we have Chorus Harmony 2. Just by streaming it, I'm already posting this on the internet while I'm working on it, but not like the entire cover. I haven't posted an actual cover song in a very, very long time. Not at the very least since high school. And I haven't posted a song in general, like a full song, since college. And I graduated 5.5 years ago. Alright, that one's bounced. Let me check my folders. They are in fact bounced. Wonderful. Wonderful. Alright, what is this one? What is this one here? This one is...
1, 2, 3, 4, ga, kurenai, so.
Oi, oi.
3, 4, ga, kurenai, so.
You tried. Maybe I should make that night O instead? That might be better.
4, ga, kurenai, ero.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted.
Ga, kurenai, so. 2, 3, 4, ga, kurenai, so.
Is that different from just having that?
Ga, kurenai, so.
It is different from just having that. I'm gonna do that instead and then do that for the other one as well. These are the chants. These are the chants is what these are. Alright. Yep, that's both of the chants? Yeah, that's both of the chants. Alright. Do chorus chant. 1. Oh wait, that was the wrong track. Oy, 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 oy. Gotta get those out of there. Get out of here. That was the wrong track, you dingus. We're on 5 now. There we go. Okay, so I'm checking my folders just to make sure that they're all correct as well. You know, the reason why it goes 0, 3, 4, 5 is because 1 and 2 are up here. And 15 is up here, so... Did I use 14 for anything? Let me check. I did not. We can get rid of that. Just delete the whole track. We don't need that. It's unnecessary, and it bloats the file, probably. Anywho, we are on chant number 2. No, we're on chant number 1 still, because I didn't do it right. They're on this one. Chant number 1. And then bounce to files. I can put on some different music while we do this. Where's my funny music? Is it up here? Where'd my funny music go? I lost... Oh, there it is. PB music. Yeah, do that. That's how you want... No, that's how I want to do it. Alright. Alright, next one. Number 6. Chorus chant number 2. Because I don't want to be sitting here in silence. That just feels wrong. Oy, 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 oy. Okay. Let me sort by. I have to add another thing because God hates me. And the folders always do this where it never has like date modified. Alright, sort by date modified, please. With the newest on bottom. God bless America. I hate... okay. There it is, ascending. There we go. Alright, so we just did that. We did Chorus Chant 2. This is... I think I called this Ghost Harmony. Yeah, I called this Ghost Harmony. So we're gonna call this... Yeah, Ghost Harmony 1 originally. So we're gonna call it Ghost Harmony 1. Okay, 1 second. My PP music, we have to pause just to see if I'm correct in that assumption that this is the Ghost Harmony.
I'm so done with. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a Ghost Harmony. Let's put that at Ghost Harmony. Alright, back to PP music. Ghost Harmony 1. And then track number 8 is Ghost Harmony 2. Yeah, that's Ghost Harmony 2. Which is also just the verse harmony, but we're calling it Ghost Harmony 2. Just to make my life easier, because that's what I originally called it. Sometimes I miss my 3DS, but then I don't play it again, and I wonder to myself why. Here's Ghost Harmony 3, which, if I do this correctly, what is this?
Cheap shot. She can take it.
Yeah.
Pay when you make it. All this fake shit. Oh.
Yeah, that's good. People music. Yeah, and then Ghost Harmony number 4 is down here, so I gotta scroll on down for that. Ghost Harmony 3. That one's the one that has, like, it's a complete octave up, which technically doesn't really work with this voice bank in terms of the notes, like the voice range. But I'm doing it anyways. This particular voice bank doesn't have a huge range because it's a... Well, I mean, it has a big range in general, because it's a tenor male voice, so it's not as huge of a range as I might like it to be. But I like the style of the voice, I like the quality of voice, and every time I've heard a cover using this voice, it sounds really good. Unfortunately, I've only heard one original song from using the voice bank Hayden, and it was about sex. It was about doggy style sex, and I didn't like that. So, you know, if I ever actually end up doing original songs, my plans, if I ever actually like start putting original songs out there in the world again, is that I get myself, what the heck do you call it? What the heck do you call it? Is that I get myself like I do my own voice as a cover, and that's the one that I sell, and then I do one with Synth as a cover, and that's the one I don't sell for money. But like the Synthesizer V cover is gonna do better just because people don't know who I am, but they're gonna know this. But more people know about Synthesizer V than myself. Is basically what I'm trying to say here. What did I call this originally? What is it called? The rest. Where are you? Ghost Harmony Aside Comments, that's what I called it. Okay. Comments 1. Am I on the right track? I am not on the right track. That is track number 10. That was the wrong thing. I didn't mean to open that. Alright, bounce to files. I accidentally put 2 spaces there. I think I put 2 spaces there accidentally. God dang it. No, did I? It looks like I did, but I don't know. I did. God bless America. Alright, number 2. And then that will be all of the files all wrapped up in a 1. But I also have to put in the acapella part that I've been referencing from the original song into Audacity as well. There we go. They've all been bounced. They're all mono channels, which means that they don't have left and right when you listen to them. In this full thing here, they all have stereo, which means they have left and right. But I'm going to put them in mono so I can adjust that when need be in Audacity itself. Because that makes my life easier as well. And also, God hates me and doesn't want me to use... never wants me to use the stupid stereo thing, like, throughout a song. It just wants it to just be on one channel, and I hate that, and that sucks. Anywho, let's, first of all, open up Audacity again. And then we need to get out the other... get the acapella out so I can reference it for mixing. Here it is. Masters or covers. That is not it. Acapella. Put that in there. And then we move this up a bit. We move that up there. I will make that quieter so that I don't have to listen to that as much. And the fun thing about Audacity is that you can just do this and it collapses the whole track and makes it easier for you to see. So I will be referencing that at points. So that's the main one. Let's save the project and then add the rest of these to the rest. Put that there. Okay, no, that's 2. It's gonna be a lot of them. Chorus chant. We will adjust the volumes as need be when we get there. It's chorus chant again. Ghost harmony. Ghost harmony. Now, this is gonna mess me up because it's gonna be in a different order than what I have in Symphony, which is unfortunate, but that's the way it feels better, I think. And the aside comments, which are way down here, I should probably put them up higher. Alright, I think it's time to get rid of PP music for now. And we're gonna open up Symphony again because I'm going to open up the other song that I've been working on. But I'm going to close that for now because we're not actually going to be messing around with it. So what I have right now is that it's only solo on the master track. Let us collapse these guys because we don't need them right now. I'm not looking at those. Ghost harmony, ghost harmony, ghost harmony. Aside comments. Let us move the aside comments up a bit just to make my life easier. Hooray! And I don't have to scroll down so much. Hey. Alright. So then I can probably have that there just as a cross-reference. And then the acapella. Unmute. 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 Okay. Lower that down in volume. I don't know how loud this is gonna be. Oi.
Crowd of statistics wearing white lies like their lipstick.
Ugh, it's so gross.
Remember the time you slipped. Crowd of statistics wearing white lies like their lipstick.
Ugh, it's so gross.
Okay. Mute that because I need to reference here.
Ugh, it's so gross.
So I actually know how to do this fairly well. I've done this particular, like, it's not the most effective way of doing it, but I know how to do this relatively well. If I open up my thing, if I can remember how to do it, that is. First of all, it is, what do we do first? What is it that we do first? Oh, it's been a while. Is the high pass filter? I think think it might be the high pass filter first. What? I guess that one? High pass filter. And then, you can't see that. God dang it. Alright, hang on. Properties, multi-adapter compatibility? The heck? Does that work? No, that does not work. Okay. Well, we're not going to be able to see that. Don't worry about that. It's fine. But, oh, do I do that first or do I... I don't remember if I do that first or not. Because part of it I have to do is that I have to equalize it. Whoa! Accidentally made it go down. Where is the EQ? That is the graphic EQ, which is probably what I'm looking for. That is not what I'm looking for. Oh, they changed things on this new one. Filter curve. There it is. Okay. And then presets and settings. Factory settings. I don't think... Okay, that could work. Walkie-talkie? That might be what we're looking for in terms of factory settings. Let's try that. Let's see how that works. That one. Really super quiet.
It's so gross.
Wow, that's not good. Okay. So I have to change that because memory serves. The way I do this is that I have to, first of all, no, nope. Okay. Didn't like that. Import? That's so cool. I don't know where my presets went from the original one. That's so cool. Maybe AM radio? Maybe that'll work? Let's try.
Lipstick.
It's so gross. It's so gross.
It's pretty close. Let's do a high pass filter. See how that one goes.
It's so gross.
Oh, that's pretty close. Oh, that's pretty dang close to what I'm going for here. Add in another one. Actually, normalize that. Make that good.
It's so gross.
Lipstick.
It's so gross.
It's like, I'm trying to make it sound like it's like Big Crush, just basically what we're trying to do here. I'm probably gonna have to normalize that in a different way soon. Let's do that again. Let's do this again, see how that goes.
It's so gross.
Lipstick.
It's so gross.
Close enough, honestly. Alright, what does this one sound like? What's this one here sound like? Oh no, that's just the laughter. Yeah, it's laughter, so... Wait, where's my secondary laughter? Am I going insane? Where's my secondary laughter? Is that my secondary laughter? That might be my secondary laughter. It is! How'd that get down there? I'm going to copy this and paste it up here. Nope! Okay, that's not how that works. Don't do that. Don't do that. But in particular, this is like... It's like an echoey effect, so... Oh, I can just... Oh, that's so strange. I don't like that. Nope, not a fan of that. Get that out of there. I don't like that. I'm doing it my way. My way or the highway. So that's basically just an echo. Well, not quite an echo. It's a reverb and an echo, I think. So put in the reverb first. And luckily with reverb, you can in fact, a good thing about Audacity is that you can always preview your effects before you apply them. And that is the case with reverb. We have some presets and settings for sure. Let's go big room. That's not quite what I want. I want it to be... maybe cathedral would be good. Okay. There's a ghost haunting this song. Oi. Alright, not cathedral. Church hall, maybe? That's pretty close to what we want. Big cave. Oh god, why is it bit crushing? Why is it doing that? Don't do that. Jesus. Get that wet gang down. Maybe it's just a... maybe it's not even... artificial? What is this? Oh, that's funny. Not what I'm looking for, but let's try... dance vocal, maybe? Because it has a little bit of reverb in there, but it's also echoey. Actually, let's apply the echo first. Let me see how that... let me see what the...
Best the best.
mute that.
Best the best.
I don't know how to get it to sound quite like that, is the thing. Audacity is only good for so much. It can only do so much, and I don't know how to use these settings very well. Particularly bathroom, maybe? No, that doesn't give me enough reverberance. Let me give a dampening, see how that works. Ooh. Put the tone low in there. Try again. Make it a bit drier. Hey, no. That's too much. It just does not sound right. It just does not sound right. Voice tail? That could work, but it's got like huge amount of reverberance and that's a little bit too much. A little bit low in there, maybe? Yeah, let's save that as... God if I know. Save that preset, see how that sounds.
When you grasp, when you grasp, when you burn, when that's the best. When you grasp.
I think it's the echoey parts that are really like messing with me. I'm gonna undo that. And I'm gonna go over here instead. This is back normal now, right? Yes it is. Okay. So this one, I'll come back to that at some point later on in my day.
Shit. She's not even Japanese, you know. Big shit. She's not even Japanese, you know.
Okay, that's once again the big crush.
Stick.
Ugh, it's so gross.
Big shit. She's not even Japanese, you know.
But it's a little bit less bit crushy. It's a little bit less bit crushy. Alright. Apply that first. Then do the high pass filter. Apply that. Then do a funny normalize. Then do another, well, no, we don't need to do that because it's not as big.
She's not even Japanese, you know.
Aw, dang, that sounds better than this.
Ugh, it's so gross. She's not even Japanese, you know. She's not even Japanese, you know.
Although that is pretty bit crushed, actually.
She's not even Japanese, you know.
Yeah, that does sound a bit more bit crushy.
She's not even Japanese, you know.
Do I need to put another high pass filter in there? Perhaps. Perhaps I do, in fact, need to do that. Put in a second one!
She's not even Japanese, you know. She's not even Japanese, you know.
Okay, it's not quite as bit crushy. So it's probably just that I have to do this one again.
She's not even Japanese, you know.
Nope.
She's not even Japanese, you know.
I'm not gonna be bit crushy about it sounding way too loud for my comfort, so we're not gonna do that. And instead, let's see if this one has...
It's really not that original.
What is this filter?
It's really not that original.
I think it's got like an echo to it.
It's really not that original.
Yeah, I think it's got a little bit of an echo to it. Oh, like very slight echo. Oh, that's weird. Oh, that's funky. Let's do echo. I haven't done this before.
It's really not that original.
Okay, delay time 0.01 seconds. Let's see if that works.
It's really not that original.
Ooh, I do like how that sounds. Let's try 15.
It's really not that original.
Ooh, that's a little too much. That's a little too much juice. Okay, 11 maybe?
It's really not that original.
It's because I was at 01. That's what it is. Let's try 1.
It's really not that original.
Yeah, it's a little too much still. 05?
It's really not that original.
Oh, I think that's pretty close. Let me hear this.
It's really not that original.
Whoops, accidentally unmuted everything. B. Solo. And unmute that.
It's really not that original.
I'm gonna normalize you. Get embiggened.
It's really not that original.
That's a little bit too big. Minus. Mixing and mastering is all about futzing around and figuring out stuff as you go.
It's really not that original.
Is that?
It's really not that original. It's really not that original.
I think I need to put the funny filter on this as well. That's gonna sound weird.
It's really not that original.
I should have not done the echo first.
It's
Really not that original.
So do the funny filter first. High pass limiter? High pass filter? High pass filter.
It's really not that original.
Solo?
It's really not that original.
And then normalize that to 9.
It's really not that original.
And then add the echo, but this time we're gonna do 0.03.
It's really not that original.
That's a little bit too much. 0.02.
It's really not that original.
Delay factor. Put that at 7.
It's really not that original.
Oh, that's funky. I don't know about that one, Chief. Let's try that. See how that sounds. Mute that. Then mute this.
It's really not that original.
Oh, solo.
It's really not that original.
Oh, that actually sounds pretty close.
It's really not that original.
It's a little bit funky,
It's really not that original.
but it sounds closer. So that's what we're going for, pretty much.
It's really not that original.
I might need to put a little funny thing on there as well. put that in there. See how that sounds.
Is really not that original.
That's a little too much. That's a little too much oomph. So we'll do low pass filter instead. Just a regular low pass filter.
Is really not that original.
Normalize that, baby. You're too quiet again. Normalize that.
Is really not that original.
Oh, that sounds so wild. Oh, that sounds so wild.
Is really not that original.
Let me go back. Let me go back and see how this sounds. I am losing my mind here. If you do the echo.
Is really not that original.
And then redo the low pass filter. And redo the normalize. How does that sound?
Is really not that original.
I think I like it better that way. Okay. Okay, so that's those ones. This one is...
Hide away from the place
That you came, can't go back. All of that's
just a game that we play.
I don't know how to do a moving filter. How to do a moving EQ is what it is. Like when you want to do the... I don't know how to do that. With this here. With Audacity. I don't think you can. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think you can. Crossfade tracks? No, that's not it. Crossfade clips? Nope. That's definitely not it. Oi, 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 oi. Oh. Synthesizer V Studio oh. Uh-oh. I made it not respond. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. We're gonna let that sit for a bit. Oh! Okay. So it opened up a thing. It's active. Load the plugin on an instrument track. Synchronize the playback and tempo of your DAW project. Load the plugin on an instrument track. I just got rid of it. I guess I have to do it via this? Wait, I'd rather not. So we're gonna stop this for now. We're gonna save the project here. Because I don't know where this is going. And I will get back to it on my own time, probably. So I have a little bit of time left. I want to introduce you to a different song that I am making into English by taking a few different sources, the original English lyrics tracks and one I found online that also translated in a different way, and trying to make them English. But I don't know how much of this song I can actually play on stream. So I'm going to try to play as few short clips as I can. It's called In My Head, and it's by Natori. If you heard Overdose before. Or, no. Yeah, it's Overdose. If you heard that song before, that's the same guy. He's been getting pretty big in the Japanese pop rock, I guess? Pop music sphere, I guess. So I listened to the song like the day it came out. It just popped up on my recommended on YouTube, and I was like, oh, I really like this actually. I want to do a cover right now, but I can't speak Japanese very well, so I'm going to try to do an English cover instead. Because luckily there's parts of the song that are like explicitly very much so in English, like this part here. Throughout the entire song, the guy sings
in my head. In my head.
which helps. I don't have all the lyrics written out. I'm still working through them. But I do have some of the lyrics written out, and I do have some of the lyrics written out here. It's a little bit hard to follow along because I don't have all of them written down. Where is... here. So I do still need to put some more notes down. So I might as well do that on stream right now. So hopefully the rest of this entire stream doesn't get claimed, and then I don't, I'm not able to play it. This section of the stream will just have to be converted to something else because God hates me, and copyright laws are terrible, and I hate them. Anywho,
About to explode, just tick and go, it's in my head. What I want, ever thoughts, was your motive here. You're like that, right?
yeah, okay, so it's hard to tell because they're going so fast. What I'm putting down is someone else has already done this before, but I wasn't huge on that cover. I didn't really like that cover personally, and I apologize to that person there. Like, they tried their best, but I didn't really like their cover as much, so I'm doing it myself. But, if I pull the lyrics up on my phone, the original ones are in Japanese, which the original track I do have here, but I probably shouldn't unmute it because otherwise I will definitely get claimed. Where are they? About to explode just seconds ago, it's in my head, and then they say, what I want, taboo thoughts.
What I want, ever thoughts, was
And then, what's your motive here? Stop that.
your motive here. You're like that, right?
You're like, that ain't right. And I don't know how to put this next part into it because it goes like a but it doesn't really, like, obviously the lyric, like, English lyrics aren't going to fit a Japanese song pretty well, but people do it anyways. They do it all the time. They try their best, and that's what I keep doing. And I haven't released any sort of covers of any sort of English lyrics I've tried to do. But then it goes, expect the high when danger flies, which I don't have put down here yet because that's kind of hard to write down. It's kind of clunky. Everything's kind of clunky, and I'm not very good at this. I'm going to be honest. Been doing it for years, and I'm still not very good at it.
Knock it off now, don't worry. Who cares if we're still dancing, baby? In my head, just if you wanna, dear. In my mind, go crazy, you gotta hear. We can now hold me tight. Take my hand and go dancing, and dancing, and dancing, dancing, love you, baby.
I feel like that one's a little bit easier to hear. It's knock it off now. Don't worry, who cares if we're still dancing, baby? And then it says in my head and in my mind is the backup there. Dance if you wanna, dear. Go crazy, you gotta hear. And then where is it? Weekend night, hold me tight. Take my hands and go dancing. Love you, baby.
We can now hold me tight. Take my hand and go dancing, and dancing, and dancing, dancing, love you, baby.
And then it goes back to the in my head again.
In my head.
That was clipping. I didn't even notice that. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that was clipping. Ooh. But I do have to put that particular expect the high when danger flies in there. So I have to move. Well, actually, hang on. These ones are probably better to move. Expect the high when danger flies. It's on the beat. It's on the beat. It's on the even ones. There we go. X. Ek. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. I should make that longer. Expect. Did I write that right? I did. Expect the high. Put down high. Make it easier. Expect the high. Expect the high when danger flies. Oh wait, no. Cause I have to do that. Expect the high when danger yeah. No, that's not. Fla? That works.
Expect the high when danger flies.
Expect the high when Yeah, that works.
Expect the how and danger flies. Not
And then move that a bit to make it sound better in my eyes.
expect the how and danger flies. Not expect the how and danger flies. Knock it.
Yeah, that sounds good. And the other part. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Where are you? There you are. Huh. I can never tell when I'm using the write a note and when I'm using the copy, the selecting tool. It's up here. This means I have the selecting tool selected, but I always forget that, and I think that the black one means that I have the selecting tool selected. And that's just me and my own brain. But yeah, because these are so fast, I was like, I'm going to put this in Symphony instead, because I lisp. I have a lisp, and I trip over my words far too often for me to actually sing this. Expect the high one. Eh. Yeah, that probably works. Eh. Expect the high one. Whoop. No. Here? Oh, I might have accidentally made them not the same length. That's cool. That's what we need to do. Definitely not make them the same length. That's good. Expect the high when danger flies. Expect the high when danger. And then fly ice. Which is a little bit there. Okay.
Expect the how and danger flies. Not
Yeah, that's good. I think that's all of them. But then I don't have a thing for... there's a little gap here where another part of the chorus goes that I just haven't gotten around to figuring out what it sounds like, because how it's supposed to sound is similar to here.
mind crazy, you gotta. My mind crazy, you gotta hear.
It's supposed to sound similar to that, but the lyrics that are written in the original English translation is "Don't lump us together," which I don't know how to fit that. Don't lump us together, maybe. Don't lump us together. Like, I'm trying to make sure that like sounds right, and also like it's not too many unnecessary words. That's a big part, is that when I do this, I tend to fill out a lot of the lyrics with like so's and justs and ands. There's a lot of ands that I do when I do this. So what we have so far.
About to explode, just tick and go and sit my head. What I want, ever thoughts, what's your motive here? You're like that ain't right. Expect the how and danger flies. Knock it off now, don't worry. Who cares if we're still dancing, baby? In my head, dance if you wanna, dear. In my mind, crazy, you gotta hear. We can never hold me tight. Take my hand and go dancing, and dancing, and dancing, dancing, love you, baby.
Expect the high when danger flies. That might sound weird. But yeah, thank you for attempting to Palpico. This is in fact a cover song. This isn't like the original song. The original song is in Japanese. I'm making it into English lyrics. I'm taking the official English lyrics and another like English lyrics that I found online, and like just doing like DeepL and Google and my knowledge of Japanese to hodgepodge something together, and that's typically how I tend to do this. I've never actually like shown it online before that I do these sorts of things where I attempt to make English covers, because I've seen a lot of different English covers for Japanese songs. Will Stenson is a pretty popular English cover artist that does a lot of Japanese songs. Jubiphonics, if you know about her. Just Raichi. Those are some ones that do that. And I've attempted to do that before, but I've never gotten the courage to actually complete one, or the, like, I've never been able to rack my brain for it. But, like, I feel like this might be a little bit stretching it.
Expect the how and danger flies.
Maybe.
Expect the how and danger flies. Knock it off now, don't worry. Who cares if we're still dancing, baby? In my head, dance if you wanna, dear. In my mind, crazy you gotta hear. We can never hold me tight. Take my hand and go dancing, and love you, baby.
That one's... Yeah, that's probably good, though. I do have to correct something because I listened to this song earlier today, and I have to correct something way over here at the end of the song. No! I get that confused all the time. Which is the select button and which isn't. Wait, did I? I did not, in fact, capture the correct one. Select that one, you dingus. And then we go here. And we take this out because that's apparently the wrong notes, I found out. And that should be fine. Is this on the beat? It is in fact on the beat. Good. Yeah, this part was at least the very least super easy because there's a lot of different English phrases in the song. In my head is one of them. And the end of the song, I was like, oh, that's really, really easy to do. Because there's only like one Japanese phrase, which is right here. Which was pretty easy enough to like adapt. But how it sounds here is basically... is go wild and free, yeah, and then the other English part is the slap on the bass. That's another English part in there, as well as the 1 2 3 and 3 2 1 and the in my head. So that was easy enough to just like put down. Is there anything else I actually have? The verses, which I haven't really done too much working on because that's complicated and I don't feel like doing that. But I could probably like copy and paste this over here because if I check the lyrics, they're not that different from oh goodness me, I'm coughing. No, I've run out of funny drink. Now I have to get out my water. Oi. Did I trip on myself? No, I didn't. I thought I did. I thought I felt it. Phantom sensations. Don't know what that's about. Found the link from clipboard. Get that out there. Shush. Yeah, I'm looking at the lyrics again. But yeah, if you want to listen to the original song, it's called In My Head by Notori. It's a very, very good song, and it's very new. So there's not a whole lot of covers on it. So I can jump on this right now and get a lot of people that would listen to it. And that's kind of, you know, sort of how I've been tackling. That's how a lot of content creators, quote unquote, tackle things. Is by trying to jump on it as fast as you can. And like, I don't like playing into that, but like, I'm obsessed with the song now, so might as well give into it. What is it? What was that? What the heck was I looking for? Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, you take part of the chorus. It's the chorus, the last chorus starts off differently than the original chorus, so I have to adapt that, but also I can probably just take this and put it here instead. Yeah, I can put that in there because the chorus actually goes into there. Oh no, I'm usually very, very slow on doing things. This is why when I've stated multiple times that I will do a PowerPoint on Sig Puyo Puyo, I'm actually going to attempt to do that potentially next Sunday. Who knows? I don't know. Probably. I'm going to make an announcement for it at some point. Here? Yes, here. That's good. Yeah, paste that there, and then take the one from over here and take that out so I can put the last bit of the chorus in there. Oh, yeah. And this part as well. This one gets out of there. But I'm usually really, really slow about stuff. Ironically. Yeah, that's good name choice. Yeah, and also like I have still work in progress on my Sig Puyo Puyo doll repaint that I've been doing, or doll custom doll, I guess, repaint thing. They call it one of a kind dolls, OOAK, on YouTube. I don't really know the whole details, but it's like taking one of them fashion dolls and then stripping it down and making it into your own thing instead of like buying a $200 ball jointed doll to do the same thing. And I've been working on that on and off since October of last year. So that's good. Where is the part that I'm looking for? It's where like that ain't right. Which is over here?
You're like that ain't right.
Yeah, okay, that's that one. And then so copy that. Copy that. Yeah, I wait too long on doing things, and then and then people jump on it before I do, and it's like, well, guess I just sit here and do nothing. Say I'm addicted to this.
Say I'm addicted to this merciless lovey-dovey trap.
And then it hits there. That's where it hits. There we go. That's where that hits. Alright, and then get the green one. Whoop, 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 whoop. Have fun with that. I'm going to end stream soon anyway, so. Is this still? Yeah, it's the same one. Okay, cool. And then paste that over here. I hate how it like takes me over there, but it doesn't like actually show me it. It just, if I click here, if I click my thing and move it here, then the last part, like, it does it so that it's at the end and not the beginning, which sucks. I will try to have it good. I will do my very best. Will I win? Will I be able to do it? Well, that depends on me. That's not the right one. That's not the right one. Why is that the one I just got? That's the wrong one. There it is. I don't know if I believe in me. I usually don't. Here? There it is. And then I have to... Did I not grab the other part? Where's the other part? Where's the other part? Why did I not grab the other part? Okay. Grab all of it. Grab all of that. Help me. Help me. Over here. And then this. God, stop hitting the tempo marker button. And then... Like that ain't right.
You're like that ain't right. Expect the how and danger flies.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's the notes are technically changed for the final chorus, but I'll futz around with that later, and not right now, because I don't care to do that right now. Now I have to get this, and also grab this. God bless America. Have to grab that as well. Alright, the high one, danger flies. And then it's... I think it's on the beat. I want to say it's on the beat, but I could be wrong. Paste it. Paste it, my god. Okay.
Say I'm Addicted to this merciless love it of it. You're like letting right. Expect the how and danger flies. Knock it off now, don't worry. Who cares if we're still dancing, baby? In my head, just if you wanna do. In my mind, crazy you gotta hear. We can not hold me tight. Take my hand and go descend, and descend, and descend, descend, love you, baby. Hey, 3, 2, 1, and step on the bass. My head, 3, 2, 1, and step on the bass. My head, 3, 2, 1, and step on the bass. My
Kinda upset.
head, 3, 2, 1, and step on the bass.
Yeah, I think that, one of those babies is like, at least one of them is longer. I'd have to check. Oh, don't copyright claim me. Don't strike my butt, please.
And listen, baby. And listen, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit longer there. Have to adjust that. Is this also longer? Or is that?
Baby,
Yeah, that doesn't go longer.
baby. And listen, baby.
Okay, I think it's part way into the
Baby.
ends there, I think. Yeah. So then do a little funky curve thing going on here. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's almost the right note. There. Not quite right.
Baby.
Do another one. Do another one that goes lower. Yeah. 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 Unless it goes higher?
Baby.
Yeah. Get rid of that one. Delete that one. Go higher. And they have to do this to make sure that's not looking bad. Oy, oy, oy. Maybe?
Baby.
Yeah.
Baby.
Here?
Baby.
Oh, it's stuttering a lot. Oh, it doesn't like that. Oh, it don't like that. It don't like that at all. It's doing a bit. Go back to 2. Doing a bit. Stop. Stop.
Listen, baby.
You know what? I think I just need... I think what I just need is to put something at the very end here. Like a little drop off point here. Whoop. Minus. Maybe that'll help.
Listen, baby. Baby.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? We'll put down yeah instead. See how that.
Baby.
Yeah. Yeah. And then make it yeah. And then make that a little bit lower. Oh no, go back. Go back higher.
Then baby, yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Then baby, yeah.
Ooh. Oh, I kind of like that actually.
Then baby, yeah.
That could work. My god, he's a genius. Folks back home will never believe this. See how that sounds.
Say I'm addicted to this merciless
That's the wrong one!
love it every true like getting right. Expect the how and danger flies. Knock it off now, don't worry. Who cares if we're still dancing, baby? In my head, dance if you wanna do. In my mind, crazy you gotta hear. We can night, hold me tight. Take my hand and go descend, love you, baby.
Might need to make that so it somehow growls a little bit in there. That's kind of what it looks. That's kind of what it sounds like in the original. Might as well let it play out again. I think that's gonna be it for today. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today. I'll work on the rest of it at some point. I don't know, but for now, yeah, music. You ever just music? Yeah. I'm sorry. I have to go eat dinner now. It's 6 o'clock and I should probably make myself some food. We have food in the house. I will figure something out. I'm not very good at making food. Anywho, I don't know when I'm gonna be next streaming. I'll figure that out at some point. Sometime this week, I'll stream. Who knows when? But otherwise, yeah, could probably be another game if I decide to figure out how I want to configure my Sims. I think I have an idea of how I want to do it, but it's a little bit risky. So I'd have to test some things out, and I also gotta clean my room a bit because it's really, really bad. I gotta clean it up a lot in order to do the SIG PowerPoint stream. But anyways, yeah. That's it. Okay. Bye.